the altar of God, eternal resistance to all forms of tyranny over the minds and bodies of humanity. This is the great challenge. This is a technological enslavement system. They figured out with Hitler and others that military isn't enough to take over. You've got to stage terror attacks. You've got to scare people. You've got to bankrupt people. You've got to pose as their savior. You've got to get your grid in place. Mike Rivera of WhatReallyHappened.com joins us. Mike, finishing up in this segment with the naked body scanners, admittedly causing DNA damage, recording your naked children, your wife, your husband. Again, acts of submission, making us submit. Now in England, they've put random body scanners in vans driving around. They go to bars, make people walk through them, guilty until proven innocent. TSA says everything that goes on in airports will now go on the streets of America. They said that 7 years ago. That's now rolling out with random searches in L.A., in New York, in Boston on New Year's, with the police out randomly searching people. This is hellish, Mike. This is our way of life being totally overturned because of some underwear bomber. It's a total fraud.
It is absolutely a total fraud. One little aspect to the case I'm starting to look into right now, supposedly whatever happened on that airplane, whether it was an exploding laptop battery or it was really, he's sitting on his own bomb, which makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, if you really think about it, if he had really wanted to blow up the plane, he would have gone to the lavatory where he had some privacy, start digging around in his crotch, put it against the wall of the plane and set it off. He did what he did in the cabin so that he would be seen. He was there to create a media incident. Same thing with the shoe bomber, doing what he did on the airplane. They could have gone to the lavatory and accomplished whatever they were doing there if their goal was to really bring down the airplane, as opposed to being another hoax. But here's another circumstance about this situation. I've been looking back at all the incidents where people have died in the airports because of being tasered by TSA. We had a very tragic situation here at the Honolulu airport where a family coming in from another island because they needed to bring their child to the airport. They came in from Samoa, and nobody at the TSA could speak Samoan. So they locked this family in a room while they try and find a translator, and the baby died before they were allowed out. And I'm thinking about it, more people are dying from TSA than they are from these crotch and shoe bombers. And nobody seems to really be all that upset about it. If the goal is to keep Americans safe, who's keeping us safe from all these fast food restaurant rejects who are given a taser and a uniform and rubber gloves and said, go have fun at the airports?
Yeah, it's an army of fast food minions. Now, I want to be clear. When I've flown in L.A., when I've flown in Austin and other cities, almost every time I fly now, they go, hey, Alex, I like your show. A lot of us are awake. We know what's going on. It's just a job. That has happened over and over again. So a lot of these are former military, or they're people that have lost their job, or they're people that worked at the post office. But there are a lot of menial thug types. And how many reports have we seen where they make women drink their own breast milk to prove it's not a liquid bomb? How many cases have we seen where they arrest people for knitting needles or for a tiny pocket knife? I had them yell and scream at me in Billings, Montana, flying out from the Hardin situation, because I said, I'll just take this tiny bottle of free shampoo at the hotel. And I said, lady, it's actually on the wall that's legal. And she said, okay, whatever, just get through here. So, again, it's training us to be abused, that we're criminals. That's what a tyranny is. It makes law-abiding people criminals.
Well, there have been a lot of experiments that show that when people are given a little bit of authority, they can become real monsters. Their dark side comes out, and we're seeing that in all of our airports. And you're asking, what are we going to do about this? On the lighter side, I'm trying to find a radio-opaque ink that we can put on T-shirts so there's a message that only shows up in the scanners that says things like pervert, or I told you my dick was bigger than your dick, and little messages
Mike, we have a family audience. Let's be careful.
Sorry.
Come on.
Sorry about that. But no, seriously, we can either do it humorously, but in the long run, I think that we're going to see the airlines just start going out of business because people are not going to want to travel. And maybe that's somebody's big agenda. But I think the owners and stockholders in the airline companies are going to realize they're taking in the teeth as much as the tourism industry is from all of this abusive behavior at the airport. And as more and more people realize it is just a hoax to try and train us into accepting that we have no more privacy whatsoever, and they'll begin to understand that what the government is really worried about is a revolution in this country. country. And as long as they can keep us stripped naked and they can read our emails and listen to our phone calls, that we can't plan and organize to do anything
They're trying
at all.
to domesticate us right now. Coming up, let's get into the Yemen bombing, the Yemen bomber, the underwear bomber. Let's get into the economy and a lot more. Max Kaiser coming up.